division is weakened. There is no doubt. The goal economy is as bad as it's been since the Great Recession of 16-17. The Avs are quite literally taking unemployed line people into their lineup at this point. But there's a light at the end of the tunnel. This is the Colorado Avalanche State of the Union address.
Welcome inside the Toyota Lounge, brought to you by your Front Range Toyota dealers, high above the DNVR bar on Colfax. That'll be rocking later on tonight, of course, for Monday Night Football, and the Avs playing tomorrow as well, so you're going to want to be a part of that. Come down, hang out. Guys are going to be doing the watch-along. I will be at the rink, and it is a pleasure to have you along today on such a patriotic episode of the DNVR Avs podcast. An epic intro there by our boy Rudo, who dug way deep.
I wasn't built to be a politician, I'll tell you that.
Yeah,
right now.
Neither am I. You won't find me in that spot, absolutely, ever. But we'll be one today. Glad to have you along. I came in with my hair on fire.
Yeah, coming in hot,
from
buddy.
Family Sports Center.
Betsy had a lot to say today.
Coach
or what,
was
huh?
verbose. He was verbose. We'll have that up for you guys later on. Yeah, I think it's fun. The most important vote that you'll do this week. I mean, there's nothing else more important voting-wise this week than the polls that we're going to have you on this show.
Our YouTube polls are the only important thing to vote on.
The only important thing that you will vote on this week. Next week, I don't know. Something could come up. But this week, if you vote for one thing and one thing only, it's our polls here.
Our first poll is up, right, Tiff? There you go. So our first poll of the day, we'll get to it in a minute, but go vote on who you think the Avs starting goaltender should be.
And there are 3 options there, but almost and very shortly about to be 2.
And then maybe a third one later.
Potentially another one later. So wait, did you put miscellaneous as an option on there as well?
I forgot to put other for goaltender.
Probably should have put other.
I probably
on
should have
there.
put other.
So chime in on other in the Toyota chat.
Let us know.
If you think that such applies. Why don't we start with the good news of the day? Because I'm Mr. Positive. I was at practice just a little bit earlier, but yeah. Lehky skating, Nichushkin skating.
Yep.
Lehky looks good.
Yep.
Drouin looks really good too. I think he's super close. I think, again, it's just about pain management for him, but those guys all look good. Calvin DeHaan is fine back in the lineup. He'll play tomorrow. That was a little bit more precautionary than anything. So excited to have him back. He looked good today too.
Yeah, I think obviously each individual player getting them back is important.
Mm-hmm.
I tweeted out the thing the other night. The Avs are missing 4 20-goal scorers right now and another 15-goal scorer in Miles Wood. And that doesn't even include Gabe Landeskog. So, yeah, they're missing out of those 5 guys, they're missing, 95 goals this year. That's more than a goal per game that they're going to get back over the next most of it they'll get back probably over the next 3 weeks, and then Colton's a little bit further down the line.
Yeah.
But the Avs lineup is literally going to transform over the next couple of weeks into what it was always supposed to be.
Yeah, and listen, I get a little angry with people sometimes, and I get a lot of it too, where people will reach out and they're like, "Oh, Bednar, oh, Rantanen, oh," and I'm like, guys, come on. I mean, we were getting to a point where I might legitimately be able to make that team, and I was okay, but I'm not an NHL hockey player. Like, there's just no way. Like, you're in such a weird state, and you just can't, do much with it. It's always, as Eric has said, about surviving in this moment, and I think they've done a pretty good job being 2 games outside of 500, surviving. And if you can get a little bit of a pump in the tires with who's coming back in the next 24 hours, I think that changes things exponentially. Just not only because of talent on ice, but mood in room.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's make things very clear here. You weren't close to getting into the lineup.
Oh, come on.
So, yeah, no. None of you two pigeons were close. I'm the one that was asked to come on board by GM Chris McFarland. They didn't ask for you guys, but I did pass my physicals. We all know. I mean, that's just, you know what I mean. Other than that, I would have been there.
You had that thing.
And done well.
You had
And
that
done
thing that you
well.
had to do too. I mean, you did pass the
Yeah.
physical. There was just the
Yeah,
thing.
no.
What was it? It was the it was your annual pedicure, I think, is what was going on.
Yeah.
You just can't miss that.
But you're right. It's the mood, to be more serious. It's more, Lehky. It's a big piece, and we talk about it on our show all the time. What it does is it just slots people in the right slots. You know what I mean? And finally, you can have, someone the caliber of Lehky to go play with McKinnon and Rantanen. Not that the guys before that were not, but Kiviranta is just not a first line player. He could go in there for a shift or two, but it's just not. And Rudo's right. There's a lack of a finish, or he is finished, but a lack of finishing abilities. You know what I mean? To put the puck in the net, he might get a few opportunities. He's just not a natural goal scorer. So that's not his fault. He just shouldn't be there. Only you're there by default. But yeah, you're right. And then it should line the mood that Lehkonen is back, and you know what I mean. Like, and the one I'm excited for is Druin. I got to be honest with you. Like at some point, like I can't wait to get him back because he is a big minute muncher at 5-on-5 last year. His minutes just ended up in the 20s every game. And, forget about the power play. At 5-on-5, he was awesome. You know what I mean? Like he played great with and again, we'll talk about this, but there's been a lack of production, at 5-on-5. And at some point you're going to need it right now. I don't care if there's injuries or not. You're going to need more production 5-on-5.
No doubt about that. I'm sure we'll talk about that a little bit later, but particularly on the mental side of things, especially with someone like Lehkonen. Look, it's human nature. When you're on a losing streak, there are going to be guys that don't want to come to the rink that day.
Yeah.
Lehky hasn't played a real hockey game in 6 months. That dude's coming into the locker room for morning skate. He's fired up. He's ready to play hockey. And the whole team's going to feed off of stuff like that, where you get yourself back into, oh, right, this is fun. We enjoy doing this, and we have good players around us to play with.
Yeah, and I think the other thing to make sure that we're thinking about here is it'll ease frustrations
for sure.
They're going to take pressure off of guys like McKinnon and Rantanen, even though they outwardly really don't visibly show any frustration. McKinnon was a little frustrated in practice today working on the power play. Rest in peace, Stick. Met the boards, and
hey, at least he didn't toss it into the crowd today. All right,
didn't toss it into the crowd.
Just the netting.
Threw it up ice.
Yeah, there you go.
Significantly along the boards.
Typical McKinnon. It's fine.
Fine. $600 hockey stick. It's all good.
Look, that version of McKinnon usually plays pretty well. I'll put it to you that way.
But Cale Makar, easygoing today. Very relaxed. And that's what you want. I think they're okay. I don't think there's any panic in that room.
And look, these guys would never admit it, and they're teammates, and they love each other. And look, they're all in it together. But when Nathan McKinnon looks to his right and sees Yoel Kiviranta, he's going to think twice. When he looks to his right and sees Arturi Lehkonen, he's going to make the play. Right. It's just, they're two different players with two different skill sets. It just is what it is.
Right.
And yeah, McKinnon would rather play with a guy who scored 20 goals in his career than 8. So it matters.
As we continue to go through this, one of the cool things that the DNVR ads are doing is bringing you just insane access. I mean, we're there day in, day out in the room. We've got you covered. We have our finger on the pulse from about 1 million different levels. No other entity out there has a guy with as a revered history in the NHL as Eric Lacroix, so you're getting that expertise. And that is one of the main reasons why you should be a diehard. And we are hitting you right now with the coolest offer and the most insane level of access. I mean, you get the membership card, which may or may not get you incredible access in Vegas as well to nightclubs and free hotel rooms.
Just flash that thing anywhere.
If you just flash that thing, if you get pulled over in the Colorado area, bring that out before your driver's license. You're probably fine. You get a t-shirt. You get access to all of the premium written content. And we've got some amazing writers. Entrance to that Die Hard Lounge. Come and hang out with us during watch-alongs. Discounts at the DNVR bar. Tons of food and drinks. And, of course, discounts on all the special events. Time running out on this amazing offer. And I just think you got to get in on it, right?
Look, I don't want to spoil any of our content, but if you've heard Eric tell a couple of his cool stories, whether it be on a watch-along or whenever he has over the last year or so, we might have a couple of those in the docket for our diehards only. So keep your eyes peeled. Go get the diehard deal we got going on for the rest of today. This deal goes away tomorrow. Only $4 a month right now to become a diehard. So jump in on it. Help support us and come find out some cool behind-the-scenes stories of the NHL with Eric Lacroix.
Well, there's some good ones. I've heard a lot of them, trust me, and I haven't even heard all of them. But if that gives you any indication, have you even told your best ones yet, E? Or, I mean, are you just kind of like slow playing stuff? Because I've heard some good ones that I know aren't diehard available yet, and those are the ones that you've got me like, literally, I'm like the little kid sitting on the couch like, tell me more.
Slow playing, just like in poker. That's how I won my bracelet at the World Series of Poker. Slow playing.
In the first hour, for sure.
I don't think that's accurate. Does that why you didn't play in the game the other night for the
Yeah.
It was the World Series
Prior
thing, wasn't it?
Prior commitments.
You're a good man, Charlie Brown. You're a good man, Charlie Brown. Obviously, it's in the poll right now, so we will talk about it a little bit. The starting goaltending position is a massive question mark. Eustace, I thought, played well against Nashville. I don't think you can fault him for any of those. I think you would love the first one back. Georgiev looks disinterested and vapid at practice today. Capo's, seems to just be happy to be there. Sat in the locker room today, and he got kind of shut off in the corner there while Rantanen was talking, and he just sat there smiling, listening. Seems like he doesn't have a care in the world. So, I mean, what are your thoughts on where you feel this should be?
Yeah, look, our poll right now, Eustace is dominating to be the starting goaltender.
Should be.
However, our poll did not include the write-in other section, which I suspect might garner a good percentage of the vote had we thrown it in there.
Right.
In the immediate, I don't know how it's not Eustace.
It's Eustace.
I'll put it to you that way.
In my opinion.
Long term, you might have a different vote come December, come trade deadline time, come
you might
that
have a different
point.
vote in the next few weeks.
You might not be wrong. It might be sooner than that. But unfortunately, I think the reality of the Colorado Avalanche starter situation, even if you believe in one of their current goaltenders, is for the next couple of weeks, the answer is undecided. They probably have to decide who their backup is, or at least who their two guys are for now in the next week or two. So maybe the poll should have been which goalie should the Avs get rid of? But
I think that'll reveal itself in the percentages anyway.
Probably. I know you're the biggest goaltending guy here. I guess my question is, at what point do the Avs stop managing the mental side of these goaltenders? Because we've seen a lot of it, especially from Bednar. And I get it. What else is he supposed to say when people bring up Georgiev? But eventually a decision has to get made, right?
Well, thanks for, nominating me the goalie guy. I appreciate that. Thanks for giving me the trophy. That's good. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Where did that come from?
He's such a dork.
I love that.
I have props, I got props all around me. Here's my take on it. God, I've been clear, and I will say my line from the summer. I will say my line from the first week of the season. Said the guy that's going to start the first game for the Avalanche will not be the guy when the last game for the Avalanche this year happens. So I'm sticking to that. I think I'm well on my way with that one. Now, I do believe, to answer the poll, my answer is Eustace for now. Yes. Did I like the first one? No, I didn't like it. Those are the ones you can't have. And even though it's not weak, and like Giz said, it's not his fault. It's just like, come on. Like, you're on the road. I understand it's Stamkos. If it's somebody else, we're like, oh God, that's a bad one. Because if Stamkos, we say, it's a goal scorer's goal. You know, again, it hits his glove. It hits your glove. You should get it. You know what I mean? So that's the way I look at it. Do I like Justus's path so far this year? Yes. I think that's my answer. I'm out on Georgiev. I won't lie. I won't sugarcoat it. I'm out. I've been out for a while, as you guys know. I think I made myself pretty clear on this one. Kakkonen, it's a small sample. That was a tough start. Again, he's got to shoulder a little bit of the blame. Like, he wasn't that sharp, right? He wasn't that. The team was not good. But again, if this was Georgiev, I'd be all over him, right? With Kakkonen's start. I'd be like, oh my God, that can't happen. So I got to be fair. Kakkonen was, average at best, on that start. I mean, that's being generous. Now, does that merit another one? I don't know. Time will tell. But I think that Justus is clearly my guy. Do I think they need to pull the trigger on something? I think the next 2-3 weeks will be very telling because the lineup is getting better, but it's not going to be that much better, for the next few games. And I think that goaltending's got to be crucial for them to win. And do I think they go and pull the trigger on something else? I think his performance will dictate that. And I think that the youth out of his game needs to get out. You know what I mean? What I mean by the youth is, there's always a couple, like the end of the Ottawa game. And, there's game where he's leaky. There's not games. There's times where he's leaky, and that comes with experience. That comes with consistency, right? We always talk about that with youth players. Again, he's only 24. It's not the oldest goalie. Usually at 28 is where you get your momentum. I think they monitor it, but I do ultimately think that they pull the trigger here in a couple of weeks, and those names are not even part of our names here.
After they figure out exactly what the situation is with goaltending, is sleep better. And our friends at UC Health certainly are encouraging that. Of course, Coach Prime trying to get Colorado back to the healthiest state, its rightful place as the healthiest state in the union. And one way that you can do that is not sleeping on sleep. And that's something that I've been working on personally. I got to lose a little weight and I got to get back in the gym a little bit more, but I'm learning to put the phone down because those lights that are coming off of the phone when you're trying to sleep, it's preventing you from getting that restful sleep. So put the phone away. Nothing important is really happening that late at night. You got to be willing to get into bed and try to get those 8 hours. And just for your physical well-being and your neurological benefits, just don't sleep on sleep. Get some rest. I got a little sleep tracker going now. I got a good night's rest last night. I got my full 8 hours. I'm feeling good. I woke up restful, went to practice.
Well, that makes one of us.
Yeah, you didn't sleep. You don't sleep. You can put something else
I definitely needed to get the sleep help from UC Health, for sure.
Yeah, whiskey also helps. Eric's working on his part to be part of the Ready, Set, Code challenge. Luckily, the team's helping him out right now and not stacking on the points too heavy at the beginning of the season. But if you want to join UC Health's Ready, Set, Code challenge, click the link in the show notes or go to uchealth.org/Ready, Set, Code.
I know we got a couple of Euro fans in our Toyota chat, so let me ask you guys a question.
I like Euros.
What is the most American vehicle? And before you answer, I already know what you're going to say. It's a truck. It's a truck. A Toyota truck, in fact, whether it be the Tundra or the Tacoma, whatever it might be, Toyota has the vehicle for you. Everybody wants to be the guy. You know what? When your friend calls you to move, they need help, you pull up with the truck, baby. You load up that trunk. It's not a trunk, it's a truck bed. Go load that thing up. You're the mover. You're the dude who does all the hard work. That's what Toyota is in the vehicle industry. They got a vehicle for everyone too. If you're not a truck guy, that's okay. You can go get yourself an SUV like the RAV4 or the 4Runner. You can go get yourself a sedan like the Toyota. Toyota has a vehicle for everyone, so much so that they're the official vehicle of the Colorado Avalanche and the official vehicle of us here at DNVR. So go check out your local Front Range Toyota stores at a location near you, including AutoNation Toyota, Rathbone Centennial, Corbin Toyota, and Boulder, Groove Toyota, and Littleton, Mountain State Toyota, and Denver, Stevenson Toyota East in Aurora, and Stevenson Toyota West in Lakewood. Again, Toyota, the official vehicle of DNVR.
Good job, buddy.
Not bad, not bad.
Yeah, good job. I like it. Your take on the goaltending situation. We got ease. I mean, you got to kind of – I mean, I think we're all on the same page here. For me, it's Justus. For me, it's Capo as your backup. Ride that as long as you can. I just think the question becomes, what do you do What do you do with Georgiev? I want to get your opinion, then I want to loop this back with you real quick from the management hat. So find that management hat as we look at this beautiful graphic that Tiff put together for us and make a call on this here.
Yeah, look, there's zero doubt statistically Annunen is the best of the three. Small sample sizes or not, it is what it is. You have to make decisions on what you have. And right now, the Avs cannot reasonably say that Georgiev certainly, he just doesn't have it this year. I think that is abundantly clear. People were talking about him playing better in his best games being an 870. That's just not good enough. It has to be Annunen. Kähkönen, we'll see. Maybe you try and get him a few more games if that's the route you want to take with it, but he would have to do a lot to take away the spot from Annunen, in my opinion. Eric, you always say that line of the guy who started the year is not going to be the guy who finishes the year, but my question is the guy who's going to play the last game of the year even in the organization right now? And my answer is no. My answer is no to that. It's just the reality of it. With Georgiev, to be honest with you, the only question I have left is what does it cost the Avs to drop the salary?
That's my question.
Is it a third round pick? Is it a fourth round pick? If it's more than that, you start talking about a pretty expensive price. The Avs don't have a lot of second round picks sitting around to play with. So I don't know that they can afford to give up something like that to dump his contract. It might not be the easiest path, but there are plenty of teams out there that will have salary cap space come trade deadline. So they'll probably find a way.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I think they do switch. You know what I mean? Like I do believe there's a switch in the making. What that is, I don't know. We can all assume with those names, right? You know, who knows? Do I pull for Eustace? I do. Do I think he's got a bright future? Yes. Like I said, time will tell here. Hopefully I'm wrong those next few weeks, but you got to get on the real run. Yeah, he went on the little run, you know what I mean? But you got to make it a real run where you're pulling some wins. And, you know, again, I understand his first couple games did not go well when he came in relief, and that hurt his save percentage and all that kind of stuff. And it is still small samples, but you know, you can't be in the 800s like last game, and you're not going to win games. You're just not. You look at the graphic pretty much all year long. The only time I do believe that Georgiev against Anaheim was below 900 and the Avs got a win, you know. But other than that, the Avs have been beat. You know, the goaltenders have been beat on the save percentages, and it's a telling stat. I mean, it's a telling stat. You're not going to get away with it like you did last year. You don't have the same lineup right now. They got away with it maybe 10, 12, 14, 16, 17 times last year. It's not going to happen this year. And I think they do need better goaltending. I don't want to hear that there's guys missing and everything. At the end of the day, you know, even the other day, there's not a lot of shots. There's not a lot of scoring chances against the Avalanche. They're just good goaltending, just for the most part, hasn't been there where it needs to be for them to overcome all those injuries and have a chance to win a game 1-0 or 2-1.
Do we have the poll results for the goalies, Tiff?
Yes. I'm looking at them right now. So I did add other. So
Okay.
that did sway a little bit. Juice is at 75, with other coming in second at 21.
So very little votes for anything other than Juice and other.
So real quick, before we switch gears to talking about, I want to talk injuries. We'll have another poll coming up for that. And then I want to talk about Val, and then we'll talk about a few other things, big hot points, just so you guys know what we're getting to today. We'll also talk about the desperate need for more goal scoring diversity, as well as obviously Lehky will be returning tomorrow. So we'll get to all of that. But real briefly, from the management standpoint, what's the best way hypothetically to deal with the Georgiev situation?
Well, I mean, the best way to deal with it, I mean, obviously every situation kind of takes a life of its own, but wow, I mean, it's been a disastrous start. So his values really, he's got none. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. I think the best scenario is you watch every night and you look, and again, you never wish injuries on anybody, but you look and see if there are any injuries in the net around the National Hockey League, and you get on the phone right away and try to slip him over there. And I know, and the management here would say, yeah, but we're going to go with Kakinen and Eustace. You know what I mean? For the time being, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what the answer is. I that would make me a little nervous, but I'm a gambler. I would like that instead of having Georgiev sit there and not useful. You know what I mean? So it's easy. It's harder said than done to move a contract like that and a player that's not performing. Yeah, it's not an easy task, but I think that I've always said it. Look at teams that are not doing really well, that are not going to be contenders, and you might make a flip of a goalie. Again, we use Anaheim all the time with Gibson. This is nothing new, but in a situation like that, you know what I mean? You make a trade, you make things work, you make the dollars work. Obviously, Gibson having some, and again, that's if Gibson has not skated this year, has not played yet. I think he's about ready to return. So, but we'll see how he is. But somewhere, somehow, I do believe you have to move on from Georgiev, and you know, you got to make the best deal that you can make right now to help your team and to get rid of the contract and get rid of, you know, obviously the person at the position. Since now you have two, and then do you get one back in return? Well, I think we just answered that question a couple of minutes ago when Rudy said you'd be looking on the outside, and I did as well. So I think he's going to have to be used for that. I don't know how you do it, but I think that's every night you have to look and see what happens around the league and try to pull the trigger on something.
Our next poll sort of ties these things all in together, and it's not necessarily injuries, and that's how we were able to include Val in this, but and it's up right now. I just retweeted it. It's out there. But which absence has had the most impact this season?
I didn't forget about Landy. I just couldn't add him. Don't yell at me.
The Landy situation is its own thing.
Landy's its own thing. Yeah. You're good on that. I love the handsome photo of him though. But you got Jonathan Drouin, upper body, day to day. Miles Wood, undisclosed, day to day. Ross Colton, he's out for 6 to 8 weeks with that broken foot. Nichushkin currently suspended but skating. And you've got Landeskog with the knee injury still on LTIR. In the poll, we're talking about Drouin, Lehky, Ross Colton, and Valeri Nichushkin. Of those, who have the Avs missed the most? I would tend to say it's obviously Val. I don't disagree with you mechanically on the ice, but let me get on my stump for Lehkonen a little bit here. I was just going to say Lehkonen is the one who I feel like is probably the most impactful. Look, don't get me wrong. If you're looking for the guy who's going to have the most on-ice impact as an individual player, it's Val Nichushkin. It is. But Lehkonen brings a lot more value in different scenarios in the sense that for the last 2 seasons, Lehkonen has been Jared Bednar's fixer. He's been the guy that has replaced the Gabe Landeskog role who, this line's struggling defensively? Throw Lehkonen on that line. Oh, the top line isn't going tonight? Put Lehky up there. Right. He'll Swiss get a Army. Goal. Glue. You need someone to go do the hard work? Lehky. You need someone to pick up your third line? Lehky. Everywhere you look, it's Arturi Lehkonen that is the guy that goes in there and, one, plays the way the team wants him to play, but two, and I don't want to call him like a clutch gene player or whatever. Obviously, the guys McKinnon, Rantanen are more talented, more high-efficiency players than Lehkonen is. But he's the guy that shows up for the Avs when they need him. Who scored the Stanley Cup game-winning goal? Arturi Lehkonen. Who scores overtime clutch goals all the time for this team? Arturi Lehkonen. Because he's the third guy. He's the third banana. He's in Yoel Kiviranta roles right now. But Lehkonen has enough talent to finish those plays, whereas Kiviranta shoots it right into the logo. He was very unenthused to do media today. I bet. I have never seen more one-word answers from an NHL player in my long history covering the NHL. So yes, I would say he is all business right now. I think he's excited to get back into the lineup. He looked very smooth, very silky on the ice today in practice. I think that will be an immediate impact tomorrow for this hockey team. Excited to see Lehkonen debut. I would agree that I think he's probably been the most impactful absence. However, most recently, the most impactful absence who filled the role for him is Ross Colton. 100%. I know you're a Roscoe guy, so I'll let you take this one if you want.
Yeah, I mean, I do think it's Ross, just because, and it was a punch in the face. It was like a shovel across the head because he was doing so good, and you're like, okay, we can overcome this, and you're going through a 4 game win streak or whatever it is, and then that one hurt. But the question for the poll, is it the one before that, like, was it who we missed the most, or who was the most hurtful, like their absence? What was the question? On I can't hear.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Most important to get back.
Yeah, most important. Yeah. I mean, I'll take 2 seconds because I know we're going to talk about him, but for me, it's Natushkin because of the situation with the salary cap and the hole that he put the team in. You know what I mean? So I think it goes hand in hand, and that's why I would say that. But I agree with your assessment of Lehkonen. And then I agree with Giz right there. Recently Colton, but I think the most biggest piece that you need back it's Val because of the salary cap, and is that what it created and what it caused to the salary cap situation within the team.
All right. Well, let's go into the big boy question, which I know the answer, and I know that there's not necessarily a choice in the matter, and I heard the comments in the locker room today. Obviously, Cale Makar, yep, we want him back. The past is the past. We want him to be healthy. Brandon, same comment. Valerie Nichushkin is on the cusp of coming back. He is participating with the team, sounding like maybe November 15th-ish, which, by the way, ties in with our takeover, which is super cool. But sounding like November 15th is roughly when we could see him back in action in a game for the Colorado Avalanche. Do they welcome him back with open arms? Is it awkward? How do they handle it? They've obviously already had these internal conversations. Go ahead, Ethan.
Go ahead, Rudo. Then I'll jump. No, go ahead, Rudo. I'll jump in.
I mean, this is tough.
It's very hard.
Yeah.
Look, on a mechanical, purely business standpoint, the Avs injuries, they don't really have a choice. The quality body that can play good hockey for them. From a locker room perspective, I don't think on the overarching look, the Avs have that big of a problem with it. Most high-level sports players will do just about anything to try and win a championship, so they probably can look past some of Val's issues. But from an organizational standpoint, at this point, even if Val has done all the right things, even if you feel like he's in a better spot as a person, how can you possibly trust this guy again? You might have to play him anyway, but how can you trust him again? This is not a one-time thing for him. This is multiple times he has looked at your team in the most important part of the season and failed to do what he needs to do for you. It's really tough for me.
So much of hockey is that bond and that trust and that brotherhood in the locker room. So on one hand, you've got them where this is a teammate who you love and who has helped you and who you want to personally be okay and healthy for him and family. And you love the man because you've bled and sweat and won and fought and lost with the man. But on the other hand, he's let you down in a really big way twice now. And it's that old adage, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Like, what do you do with this situation? And it sucks because he can help and he will help. But it's always going to be in the back of your mind.
For sure.
I mean, I got my thoughts. If you want to go with your ads, go ahead. And then I got my thoughts on the way back if you want.
Look at you.
Do be ad time.
Good call. I'm betting on the fact that you're the man, and knowing that we had to get our commercial break in there that I wasn't paying attention to. And Bet 365 now an official partner of Denver Nuggets and Colorado Avalanche, and they are giving new customers in Colorado 2 months of Altitude Plus on them when you sign up. Go watch our friends Moj and Riker and Kiefer and all the good folks over there, because whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet 365. They are boosting and doing power-ups on the odds and hundreds of bets to give you a chance to win with more than over 10,000 boosts every month. They're going to boost specific markets and your winnings and even parlays. So keep an eye out for those custom DNVR bets and boosts. My favorite is the NHL early payout with Bet365. Your winner if your team gains a 3-goal lead with an instant payout on straight bets. and parlay selections marked as winners. Tons of cool stuff if you sign up, especially getting a little bit of money back. So make sure you guys are all over this. As an official partner of the Denver Nuggets and Colorado Avalanche, new customers now get $200 in bonus bets when you bet 5 and 2 months of that Altitude Plus. You must be 21 plus and physically located in Colorado. Please gamble responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER.
Let's see if Eric picks up what I'm putting down here. When the Avs get a bunch of these injuries back, what is one word you would use to describe the Avs lineup?
Healthy. No.
Good try. Good try.
How about sexy?
There it is.
Sexy! Oh, my God. I didn't think about it. Sexy. My fault.
You're usually the one with food on the mind. Sexy pizza should be on your mind. Go get yourself the best pizza from this By the Slice eatery. They're more than your average pizza eatery. Sexy Pizza is dedicated to top quality eats with civic and community interaction. They help fund local sports teams for kids and high schools and all that stuff. They do fundraisers for good causes. They're all about the community here in Colorado over at Sexy Pizza. So make sure you're getting yourself a slice of their fantastic food. We get them here all the time. Don't tell anybody that I just raid the Sexy Pizza every time it's here. It's basically how I survive and eat food. You can go look at their specials every day. Right now, they sell slices with a combo that includes a fountain drink, or at locations that serve alcohol, you can also go get yourself a beer. Sexy Pizza, serving sustainability, community, and hand-tossed pizza in Colorado. Boom.
All righty. Hit us.
Here comes the boom. I like it. Yeah, my take on Natushkin, forget about the addiction for 1 second, because we all we touched on that. You want the human being to be good, and I think coaches, management, Bednar, McFarland, players, they've all talked about it. Addiction stinks. It's not fun. And obviously Val's had to work on himself, and good on him. But it's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about addiction. We're talking about a player with a roster spot on a salary cap team. And it hurt. It hurt a lot because there's consequences to your actions and to your addictions and all that kind of stuff. So when you look at the roster, it's hurt big time. It's a big salary guy, right? Over 7, what is he, 6.5 or whatever he is, and that's a big chunk. And when you start to get injuries, you have to look at. And I know it's awesome and it's great, and he's coming back. And again, it's the league will decide, and it sounds like it's deciding by the 15th, and again coincides with our takeover, like we talked about. That's great, but the conversations you're going to hear from the players in the locker room today, or from Val himself, if he's ever made available when the time comes, it's always the same. It's you don't want to hear about the past, and you want to move forward. Of course, they're not going to tell you what they talked about, and neither should they tell you what they talked about. But I'm sure they had some serious conversations, because you're right. Rudo is right. It's 3 times that actually is noted. And it's probably been more than that we're not made aware of, that he's been caught and he's let his teammates down at the most crucial times. Decisions were made a couple summers ago after a successful championship season, and bodies were not retained. He was retained, so that's on you. You know what I mean? Like to make sure that you're at your best and not absent in those most important times. And now when you have a start to the season like this, and bodies are going down, and one of the reasons where they can't really get any help is because you're suspended. That's on you as well. So part of this season's struggle so far, I put it on him a little bit. He's not escaping that one for me. He has not been there. Bodies have been missing, and bodies are not being able to be replaced because of the situation. And we talked about it all summer, the handcuffs that Chris has been put in. So therefore, that's on you a little bit. So when you come back, you better be flying. And I don't want to hear that there's a period of getting back into it. Well, I got news for you. I don't have time to wait. And when I say that, at some point, you're going to have to be flying. and you better be playing, and you better be on your best behavior. And then you cross your fingers, because, like you said, it's the trust is, it's been tested. It's been tested many times. And now I know in a time of need right now, there's a lot of bodies missing. It's like, oh my God, yes. And like I said, guys are good human beings, and I'm sure Val's a good human being. We're not talking about the person, we're talking about the absence. It stunk, you know what I mean? And it hurt. It hurt the Avalanche up to this day right now, still does. So I do believe when he comes back, he's got to be on top of his game, and he's got to be going. And
he looked good today.
Great. He better look good in games in my book.
Shoulda, woulda, coulda, what ifs and whatnots, but is this less glaring if Landeskog isn't simultaneously injured and you don't have this litany of infirmary trips that you have at the start of the year? Is it less glaring? Are we talking about Nichushkin less?
Yes.
If the facts weren't the facts right now?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I agree with Rudo. That's what I just said. I agree with Rudo. And that's why it's more magnified now, and it's more but he's not escaping it in my book. He's not escaping it. That's still on him. You know what I mean? And that's where I struggle.
Can we get our poll results, Tiff? Because I know it's less glaring, but I suspect our poll.
Yeah, for the injury one, right?
Yeah.
And I'll actually add the next one. So injuries, most impactful, Val ran away with it with 43%, with Lehky being the next one. And then Druin, and then Ross rounding that out.
So even with all these injuries, Val is the most voted impact one there. And for the last one, I want to change it a little bit. The question I want to ask is, what do you want to do with Val? Play him, trade him, or terminate him? The Nichushkin situation is what it is. The reality is, you sit that guy down and you say, you're lucky to be here right now. If things played out differently, your career in the NHL should be over. And if you screw this up again, it is over. So,
if you screw this up again, it ain't it is over. It's the rules.
Yeah, right. You just, I don't care about this, that, the other thing. What's right or wrong? Ultimately, every hockey team is a business that's going to do what they think is best for them from a business standpoint. And to be frank with you, the Avs' best business decision is to play Val Nichushkin as soon as possible. I don't love that. That's not my favorite thing in the world, but that's what's going to happen at this point, assuming he gets cleared by the league, which, given that he's practicing, it sure looks like he's going to. It's to prepare for it. That's what I will tell you. Expect that to be the solution for the Avalanche.
Oh, I agree. And I think that's what's going to happen. And like I said, I don't think there's, again, terminating is such a different animal. And this is like lawyers and everything involved and all that kind of stuff. The league got involved, obviously, in this one, stage 4, right? So the league will decide what's next. I'm sorry, stage 3. Well, the league will decide where, the 15th, if that's the date, that's what it sounds like, then great. Of course, as a team, like you said, in the situation they're in, they're going to make him play. I mean, again, where does this lead? I don't know. Time will tell. And then, but it's a lot of money. It's a lot of years. And for the Avalanche or any other team in the National Hockey League to take on and to know that, the trust factor's been tested. It has. There's a history there. So you gotta, you gotta take that in consideration and figure it out and go from there. And we're not there. We're not there 24/7. When I say we, as the fans, the media, the players are. And I tell you one thing. I remember as a player, you asking me to put my hat on earlier as management. I'll put my hat on as a player. The last thing you want to do is to let down your peers. Forget about management. Forget about fans. I mean, that's all important. That's not what I'm saying. But your peers, when you feel that you've let down your peers, that is the biggest letdown there is as a National Hockey League player. That's the last thing you want to do. And again, we'll see how that's going to play out. But like I said, what they tell us and what's been told, that's none of our business. Or what they're going to say to them. Or that. I'm assuming they've already had the meeting with them, and especially with the leadership group and all that kind of stuff, but they're not going to tell us what's said. They're going to tell us exactly what they told us today. Hey, we're looking forward. We're looking at the past. We're not looking in the past, and we're looking forward to make sure that we have an important piece back in the lineup. And that's what they should say. There's nothing else they should say.
Well, November 15th sounds like it might be the date, and that happens to be perfect because it certainly coincides with a big one for us, and that, of course, is our first takeover. I'm excited. I get to be a part of it. We're going to do it 3 different times this season, so you've got 3 different options to choose from. November 15th, we're doing it for the first time this year against the Washington Capitals. Hedgie coming in with us. Name is in the rafters. Friend of the show. Make sure you check that out. He'll be joining the DNVR Avs crew for that takeover. Catch a game with an Avs legend. Then we'll do it January 4th with the Montreal Canadiens in town, Les Habitants. And then, of course, against the Minnesota Wild on the 28th. Pre-game hanging at the DNVR bar. Party bus to and from Ball Arena with the game ticket. We also have bus-only game tickets available. Plenty more of those. And remember, you can always come and hang out for watch-alongs. We love having you here at the DNVR bar. We'll chill with you. Come on up and say hello to us. Drink specials, of course, in abundance. Unbelievable food down at the bar, so come chill with us on that. And by the way, also, make sure you're grabbing some merchandise. We got a 30% off everything sale going on right now. So head over to shop.allcitynetwork.com to check out our merch, and your discount is automatically applied at checkout. Tickets still available for the game on the 15th. Make sure you are jumping all over those today.
Hayduk, Nichushkin, and Ovechkin all in the same building at the same time.
Gosh.
Not bad. Not bad right there. Tell you that much. Look, also, when you come out to the arena or when you're here down at the DNVR bar or wherever you might be, make sure you're choosing chill with Coors Light. Go get yourself a Blue Mountain bottle or can. Lets you know the mountains are blue when it's cold enough to drink ice cold Coors Light. It's the beer I choose to chill. You'll see me drinking it on watch-alongs. You see me drink it down here at the bar. You can get it delivered right to your front door, too. You don't even have to get up off your couch with CoorsLight.com/DNVR, thanks to Instacart. So go choose chill for yourself. Make sure you're getting your ice-cold Coors Lights, whether it's in person or at your front door. Of course, Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Please drink responsibly.
Please drink responsibly. And, of course, our show today brought to you by our friends at Bet365. They're doing a great job for us. It's certainly been a fun partnership with them and all the cool stuff they are offering. No, we talked about them earlier, but make sure you jump in on the free bet money. And, of course, they're hooking you up with a little Altitude Plus. And catch our friends over there, too. So all that's a lot of fun right now. To wrap up the Valeri Nichushkin conversation, and then we'll get to the poll, and I want to move on to where we think other goal scoring needs to come in, and we'll tie that back in with Lehky in a little bit. But I think Eric said it best. I think you've got to overcome the disappointment. I think that Nichushkin is a great human being who addiction is tough. It's tough. It's hard, and that's a hand that you don't know you're going to be dealt until you're dealt it. He's obviously doing all the things that he's got to do to try to make himself better. But at the end of the day, you're battling something. It's a disease, right? So, my prayers are with the man that he gets it right, first and foremost for himself and his family, because it can't be easy on him. I know it isn't. And then, obviously, for the team, for the fan base. So, I guarantee he feels horribly that he's let his guys down. I know he does because he's a hockey player. And NHL guys are the best athletes people on the planet, in my opinion. I'm hoping, and I believe that will put him on a path of holy smokes, look at him go hockey. And I would imagine that probably one of the things that he's been thinking about in this difficult stretch for him is getting back and proving to the boys that he wants to be a big part of it and can help.
I hope you're right.
I hope so, too.
I think you're probably right, but we've also tried this twice before.
I hope so. I hope I'm right. I really, really hope I'm right.
Throw away the key, buddy.
3 times. No, it was Seattle, Toronto.
Sure. The Seattle one.
The last playoff.
Yeah, this will be the 3rd time. But
yeah. This has been 3 times.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right, we'll talk about the poll then. Where are we at with that, Tiff? This was I'm very.
We've got 80%, 80% saying play him, 14 saying trade him, and then the rest saying terminate. Now, I am seeing, since my comments aren't working today, sorry about that, chat, but I am seeing a lot of comments saying play him until he's valuable enough to trade him.
That's a fair point, but I mean, you got to remember there's a history there, so it's like
people aren't gonna.
If you're willing to play him until the point he's valuable enough to be traded, why wouldn't you just keep playing him?
Yeah,
you're to be able to say, "Oh, well, we took the moral high ground after playing him," is not. That's stupid. If you're gonna play him, just play him.
You're pessimistic.
I am
by nature.
I am. It's true.
I get it. I'm optimistic. And an upbeat guy by nature.
But that's my point. Like, if you trust him enough to play him to raise his trade value, you should trust him enough to just play him for you. Like,
it is a tough situation. I mean, listen, he's going to come back. These are the facts. Control what you can control. He is coming back. This team will do and has said that they will do absolutely everything they can to make sure that he's in the best possible spot to be healthy and committed to the group. I hope the leadership group has talked to him. I guarantee they have, especially now. I'll be interesting to see if he comes out with his hair on fire and makes an immediate impact when he gets back into the lineup. I'll be super pumped about that because I will feel in the heart of my hearts that he's making a commitment to himself and to the group to do the right thing. That's what I'm going to look for.
I've got nothing to add beyond that. I'm good.
All right.
Good.
Oh. We'll revisit the poll at the very end of the show in the next 10 minutes.
I've got them also out on Twitter under the main page. Make sure you guys are answering on there too. And then I'll make a couple of cute graphic cards and we'll send them out tomorrow morning and see what the final results on all three of these are.
Good stuff, Tiff. Appreciate it. Not fun to talk about. I don't enjoy talking about it either. I'm a faith-based guy, so I'll just make sure that I say my prayers for the man and hope he does the right stuff. Okay, about 10 minutes left here. Let's just circle back to Lehky real quick. Just kind of want your thoughts on the impact you think he's going to make, and it sort of ties into this team in desperation of a more diverse goal scoring. You're getting it from Kale, obviously. You're getting it from Mikko. Both of those guys on 12-game point streaks. Cheers to them on that. Lots of props. Rantanen has cooled off. He's not pulling the weight that he needs to pull, but knowing his pedigree, he's going to find it. I expect a huge game out of him tomorrow, to be quite honest. I expect him to pop in a couple of goals. In fact, I'll take him as a multi-goal scorer tomorrow and bet 365. And it sucks because you had it with, like, Casey for a little while, and then Ross Colton was delivering in a huge way, and you're like, yeah, we're gonna be all right. And then the well dried up, and then the injuries happened.
And I talked about this scenario a lot, and Lehkonen on his own is important to help the Avs in that category. But what Lehkonen helps unlock is everybody gets the opportunity to play where they're supposed to play. Not really, because there's so much injured, but you get closer to that situation. You stop playing a Yoel Kiviranta on the top line. You bump Logan O'Connor down a spot, who, in my opinion, is the guy the Avs might need to step up most as far as their depth production is concerned as LOC. But every single piece of your lineup all of a sudden gets a little bit better. It's not just, hey, we got a good player back. It's, hey, yeah, our third line is actually competitive now. Hey, our second line, we now might have the option to drop Mikko Rantanen down and play with Casey Middlestad, and he can carry that line a little bit. It helps every single facet of the lineup beyond the fact that, yeah, Lecky's probably going to give you some goals on his own.
Yeah, and I think you touched on it a little bit there. And again, this is a known fact. My two favorite players for the Avs the last few years have been, one, Val Nichushkin, so I got disappointed. Two, the Moosh, Mikko Rantanen. And yeah, I am a little disappointed right now. I'm a little disappointed with his performance these past 10, 11 games, whatever it is. Yeah, he got the hat trick, but we need more. They need more. If you saw last night, Draisaitl, all of a sudden, McDavid's out and he's starting to take over. And again, McKinnon's not even out. He's there. So your partner is there. We need more from the Moose. It has not been acceptable in my book. He's not escaping it. because he is a top 10 player in the league, and we need more from him. Now, I'm going to give you a hot take there. I know you're talking about LOC, the depth scoring. I agree with you. I'm going to give you my hot take right here. Andrei Kovalenko. Sorry, that's his dad. Nikolai Kovalenko. You know what? You got one goal in what is it, 11 games? You've had a lot of opportunities. You're 25 years old. You're not 18. You've had plenty of ice time to make an impact. And again, I always say, like, I score 1 in 12, whatever it is, I'd be run out of town. You know what I mean? Like, so it's like you gotta perform a little bit more than what you've shown. And I know we're all like, oh, great, yay, you know what I mean? But somewhere, somehow, for me, this is a guy, I like him. Yeah, great, but you got to perform a little bit better than that. I'm talking about on the score sheet. Here's my hot take today.
4 points so far this year for Kovalenko. LOC has 2.
No, I agree. And I said to you, remember, I agree with you on the LOC. But I'm saying, like, if you're gonna get that kind of ice time when there's a lot of bodies missing, because when there's a lot of bodies back, you're not going to be getting that ice time. And I tell you all the time, it's hard from the bench to produce. It's hard so you better get your stuff out there right now and show that you can. But if you're not really producing, I don't know. I like him. I just thought it'd be a little bit more of a runway for him these past dozen games. You know what I mean? Where the ice time's been there, and I think the production's like okay. I'd like to see more.
At the end of the day, and my good friend Sean Miller just texted me. It's the common goal is winning. The common goal is winning.
Absolutely
so with everybody that you are bringing back into the lineup, with Nichushkin, with Lehky, even though he was cold and whatever today, they're hockey players, they're NHL players, they're playing for a team that has a legitimate chance at winning another Stanley Cup in this window. Like,
if they can get healthy.
Legitimate chance. If they get healthy and can somehow miraculously find at this point, it might be a miracle in the net of some degree, whether it's a player that pops up or something happens. This is a Stanley Cup pedigree team, like, no doubt about it.
I love that you mentioned Stanley Cup pedigree, because what is the phrase every sport uses? Defense wins championships. You know what players like Artturi Lehky do? Yeah, they bring you goal scoring. But Artturi Lehky is one of the Avs' top 3 defensive forwards.
Yes.
Val Nichushkin is probably the Avs' best defensive forward. Yeah. These guys bring more to the game than just, oh, yeah, the Avs need more goals. Guess what? They can help your goaltenders, too, by playing quality defense and getting the Avs going in the right direction.
And by the way, you can, thankfully the comments aren't working today, so I can't see myself getting chirped. But you might not have noticed Calvin DeHaan in the first 11 games of the season, but you know what you did? You noticed that he wasn't there in game 12.
The Avs need quality defense every single night, and they haven't gotten enough of it. Part of that is goaltending. Part of that is the actual defense. Part of that is your forwards helping on defense. It's the whole package. Look, the guy who stepped in for him, John Ludwig, takes the penalty that gives Nashville their first goal. It's math's not hard there.
I mean, and to your point there too, Rudo, they're second worst in the Western Conference in goal differential. I mean, that is just not typical Avalanche. You know what I mean? And I get it, like you said, injuries and goaltending, but they're second worst in goal differential after 12 games. That's not after 2 games; it's after 12.
Who do we think, as we come to the end of the show here in this final minute? I say Rantanen steps up in a massive way tomorrow. I think he's going to be a multi-goal scorer tomorrow night. Who do you think else steps up? I will also throw in that I think Middlestat will have an impact offensively tomorrow.
I'm going to go with the dog. He's been good. Obviously, he's got a streak. He's going to... But I think he's going to be great tomorrow. I think this is kind of last year where he kind of took off right around game 12 last year. Had a good start, but not a great start. And then all of a sudden he was phenomenal. So I think this is when he starts taking off and he'll be barking tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take a bit more of a fun answer since it's always got to be the stars for this team. But I am going to say that it's going to be Parker Kelly to finally score a goal tomorrow. I think the Avs depth finally needs to do something proper. And I don't mean the Avs depth like Ivan when he gets thrown on the first line. Scored some good goals. Cool. Give me an actual third line scoring a goal tomorrow.
All right.
There you go.
All right.
I love it.
That was a fun one today. That blew past us real fast. The DNVR Avs Pod was presented by Bet365. We thank them so much for being a part of us. We thank all of you for hanging out with us in the Toyota Lounge today above the DNVR bar on Colfax. It's a great spot, so make sure you come by and check it out. Tomorrow, the Colorado Avalanche at home at Ball Arena, taking on the visiting Seattle Kraken. We'll have, of course, a pregame show for you here on DNVR. Then tune in our friends at Altitude, but have us on for the watch-along. We'll have the post-game for you. I will have DNVR Insta updates from the arena after each period, including all the pressers from the very end of the game. And then, of course, tomorrow morning we'll have Hockey in the Rockies for you coming from Morning Skate. If you aren't subscribed to us, make sure you do that. We hit 100K. Hit the horn. Yeah. Let's go. Plaque incoming from our wonderful friends at YouTube. We'll have a nice little spot for it. I'm busy on like an easel.
Yeah, there you go.
Right back there in front and center. Make sure you're liking and following us on all of our social media platforms. And if you aren't a diehard, remember, it is your last day to get access to the best content. Go on, sign up for that. It's only $4 a month, and you're really not going to regret it. If you aren't on board for the takeover yet, that's coming up on November 15th. Hedgie, Milan Hayduk, whose name is in the rafters, is coming along with us, so sign up for that. And I think that's it. Thank you for all the kind words in the comments and for following along with us. Make sure you go out there and vote for the other big thing that's happening tomorrow, because
voting is good.
Make sure you vote. Exercise your right. A lot of good men and women have put their lives on the line so that you have that ability. Do something nice for somebody else today. Go make somebody's life better and call your mom. For E, Tiff, AJ, Rudo, and myself, Gizmo, thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow. Good afternoon.
We all silly like the mayor.